We're going to call to order the meeting today for Wednesday, the 21st of February. Call to order 5:36.
Sounded just like
We got everybody here with the exception of Lacey, so that's good. Approval of the agenda. If anybody's got any changes, modifications, corrections, speak now. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to approve that as presented. All right, Michelle makes a motion. All in favor? Aye. Okay. All right, January meetings. Took a look at them. Minutes, meeting minutes. I didn't see anything when I went through it that of note. If there's no corrections there or additions, I'll entertain a motion to approve that as presented.
I put in a motion to approve the January minutes.
Thanks for the motion. All in favor? Aye. All right. We got a little bit of public today. I guess Jason's sort of public, as well as Kevin over here.
they're both at least live.
Right.
We are at least breathing, that's for sure.
Just to point them out. You have anything for us, Kevin?
Nothing this month, just extremely busy at the paper, so.
Jason, anything you want to mention at this point?
Oh,
All right, moving on to our discussion. We'll go ahead and do the water, basically a water loss update. Anyway, there, Carrie,
Okay,
water
so-
plant, utility manager.
We have good news. It's not fixed yet, but we know where two major problems are. We valved off some sections, and when we had these valves closed to isolate these sections, instead of losing 2 feet an hour, which is about a little over, right at 9,500 gallons an hour, we were able to drop it down to 0.4 feet an hour,
Wow.
which is about 1,750 an hour, which would end up to be about 40,000 gallons a day. Compared, right now, our average is 236,000 gallons a day, which would drop it down. We're having to run the plant right now to 14 to 15 hours a day, to keep everything full, and that would drop it down to around 3 hours a day. In the summertime, when things pick up, we have car groups or big events or anything like that, and I think 6 hours would be a long day for the water plant after all. And so if we get this problem under control, we'll be in really good shape.
So you said in 15 minutes we saved over 7,000 gallons of
Well,
water.
when we had, it was longer than 15 minutes, but like when we had these sections valved off, that's how much I lost, was we losing an hour. On 28, in front of the old administration building, like where you come into the village, there's a valve right there that we closed off, on a 6-inch line.
On the road.
Yeah, it's in the middle of the road. And the line does run, it runs beside the road, under the road, we're not exactly sure, but we closed the valve at the main entrance of the village. Closed it.
So you just valved off that section?
That section out there, and that would save us, the best I can tell, we had things going on in the village and the other valves open, but I think it would save us around 55,000 to 80,000 gallons a day. Just have to wait and see, but we do know there's a significant leak there in that area. It's about 1,800 feet.
And that's just the one on 28, right?
That's just the one on 28. We also valved off in front of the grill, and there's that loop that goes up through there, and then the 6-inch line that goes to the village tank goes up in the woods there. We valved that section off, and that's where we really got the savings on the, how much we were losing an hour.
That's when the drop in the tank, essentially.
It was that hour we lost, like I said, 0.4 feet, which is about 17. And the lodge had water at that time. We didn't valve the lodge off. We had valved the lodge off, but it didn't make a difference. The bistro was open, maintenance and laundry, like the general store, all that area had water, and all the cabins that go in the big blue, all that section had water.
So, I mean, I can't
It
believe
has
that we're
to
not
be in
seeing
that,
anything.
I know,
from
it has to be in that area somewhere, because that one,
There's so much water.
I know
It's
that
just-
one valve, when we closed that one valve, I mean, it was amazing the difference.
So is Keith gonna come in and do some specific, looking around?
I've not
those
spoken
areas?
to him, but as
Yeah,
far
I
as I
just
know,
sent another text out to him to see if
he
he
said
could be
he'll be
reply.
here tomorrow, maybe.
He had,
What?
said he had to go to Murphy, so,
What system is he using to try to find?
I don't know, whatever they,
I think it's primarily like these
is it
listening.
sonar?
See, we've tried that, Jeff's told me in the past, and we really didn't find out much. Nicole's got somebody from Florida that can come in and do an infrared scan of the whole line. It's minimal money, it's probably like $1,000 or under. We have to pay them to, obviously, to come up here for their travel, and then I probably have to put them up, it'll probably be an overnight thing, but I think it would behoove us, because right now, I called Carrie today and I said, okay, it's prime time and we're doing all the business that we do in April. How long would we have to run? She said 24 hours.
And I'm not sure, when we turn the pool on, when you start filling the pool up, that
Oh,
thing
yeah.
leaks like a
Oh,
And
sieve.
we're
yeah.
still gonna have another container for chemicals
Yeah, the
too.
one pool's gone, but the other Stone Creek, I mean, it leaks like a sieve.
And we would have to have another container for chemicals.
I think if we have a fairly good theory that we can follow up on and we can potentially identify it and address it before the season starts, I
Yeah.
think it's worth trying to go after.
There's two.
Well, I mean, if he comes tomorrow, let's just see what he finds,
Yeah,
because
but
it's no
he-
charge to us, so.
Oh, we
You know,
want to take advantage of anything.
Yeah,
we can.
anything we can get, so I don't know what kind of
Yeah,
system he
you
uses.
can't find,
but-
like, isolate it further down and, you know, I mean, it could be the 6-inch line, it's just got more of this crack in it. And just be able to dig into that and
Nicole's
sleep.
working through that,
Repair
trying
it
to
for
figure
you.
that out.
Right, if we can just put a sleeve on it to tie this over till we start working from the grant.
Yeah.
There's two primary things that the resort has to have in place prior to the season: labor and this water.
Yeah,
And one's not more important than the other. If we don't have water, I mean,
And
We need the water.
we just don't know how much, what's gonna happen, I mean, how much more water, it's just, we don't know.
the thing, I don't even know how to make a budget if we are able to correct this problem. Because the whole time I've worked here.
Right.
We've had such great loss, I
Yeah.
don't know how to make a water plant budget from that.
I mean, I
In your
can,
territory.
I can estimate how much chemicals, our turbidity, or how much chemical, the dose that I do on chemicals, is very rare I have to make a big adjustment, because our our raw water quality is so bad.
Right.
I mean, I can estimate on hours, or how many gallons I pump, how many gallons of chemicals I'll use a day, compared to what we're using now.
Well, when it gets close to that time, then we'll certainly be, sitting down and going over that and trying to zero in on that more, because, it's just been very up in the,
And right now, I mean, by regulation, I'm supposed to have 30 days worth of chemicals on me. I can't keep up. I had chemicals delivered in January. I'm having another chemical delivery Monday for bleach and alum, the two main chemicals that.
And those are the ones that are really expensive too, like the alum isn't up.
Well, it's gonna be $2,000.
I know that one order that was over 7,000.
But we're using, I mean, because we're having to make so much water right now. Look, I've used over half a tank of bleach already. And that's just, I mean, like, I don't have a high chlorine residual. I have what's usually like a 1 part per million before it's out of the system. And I mean, that's just,
So another question, the leak on 28,
yes.
we bypassed that. Do we have anything actually coming off of that? Any services?
can't bypass it.
We can't bypass it.
Can't bypass
So
it.
it was just a temporary thing, but we needed
Yeah, we can't get water to the village tank or in the village if we don't have, see, we close the 300 block. The road, the line, there's 2 valves in the road up there when you come into the village.
Yeah.
One is the old 300 block that comes to the intersection of the four-way down there.
Yeah.
So we have that closed off.
Okay.
There's leaks on that as well.
Okay.
And there's a fire hydrant, when we have that open, that's leaking, it's got a pretty significant leak.
That one down near at the Forest
It's
Lake.
an either-or situation.
Okay, gotcha.
If we try to close the one on
We
28.
got 2 and we got leaks on both.
Yeah, there's leaks in both. One's not better than the other, in order to get water into the village and up to the tank, we can't bypass.
Gotcha.
I'd still say, if he only has a very limited time, that we check the one that's in front of the grill, because we've never even identified that. Because that's a bigger leak, right?
Yeah, that would save us more water.
Yeah.
And the upside is, I guess, having would you, well, I mean, right now, you're running on the one, going down 28, right? And you've got the other one.
Yeah, because the line at the intersect, or you cut up to the village, into the village, up to the lodge there,
Yeah.
from that, the entrance up to that four-way is a pretty new line. I forgot when, Jill says it's, there's no taps on it, or anything.
Yeah.
It's just a straight 6-inch line up there. And so we have no we
Coming up the
know,
main entrance?
yeah, we know that there is no leaks on that. We valved that section off. And
That's coming up Woods Road, that
it
entrance, right?
just does not, it doesn't change anything, I mean, you
So
know.
that might allow us to think about, I mean, you know, one of the first points of attack might be to replace the other line on the other side, you know, through the 300 block. And then it allows us to do work on one side while we're still open. We don't, it's not so critical. It gives you,
Yeah.
and then you can switch over and then you can look at the other side.
I know they have some, I don't, did Robin hook it all, go look at Monday? Out there, and I think he had a meeting with him. Anyway, somebody came in Monday with, I think they had a radar, is what I think they were using, I don't know.
I think it was Darren.
Yeah.
Ground penetrating.
Yes, well, they found down 28, they gave three, they were telling me he gave three options. We could run a new 6-inch line and just not tack it, just bring it from valve to valve. That would solve the problem, because there's nothing that needs to be tapped out on that right now. You could go back and tap later and do it. We could, they found a crack in the road that had an indentation.
Jeff, though, I asked him about that, he said that was not the leak.
Okay,
I don't know why and how he knows that, but he said that's not a leak there.
okay, but they thought he lost signal, and they said, you know, if you lose
I
signal,
thought about
that's,
that too, yeah.
you know,
Breaker.
yeah, right. Could check into that and see if that is the leak, or they could put a liner in an existing pipe and just run it from valve to valve, just a liner inside that pipe.
Yeah.
Not like pipe bursting, but it's still like just putting in a sleeve
Yeah,
inside
like a
of it,
sleeve,
right?
yeah. That's from my understanding.
Oh, so it's different than bursting? It's not like a,
From my understanding, it's just putting like a liner inside the pipe that would just run it through the existing pipe and it would just seal up everything.
sounds like a version of bursting.
You know,
Yeah.
but it's just.
I don't think though that it bursts out.
They don't
Yeah.
pressurize it.
Yeah, I think it just sets in and
I'm
learns.
saying new lines myself.
Well, we will when we get the grant going, but,
Well,
you know, we get.
Cost,
we-
yeah, we do the cost analysis, we figure out, I mean, if you can get 20 years and you can spend, you know, 2/3 less, you gotta kind of figure out the balance of which way you want to go. I think it's encouraging news all the way around here. We've got two major leaks that are contributing primarily to our losses. We can address them before this starts, and I think it definitely gets priority.
And Nicole from the state, my state inspector came here today just for a visit, and, you know, the state's not gonna say anything to us. We're rated for 500,000 gallons a day plant. If we start running 500,000 gallons a day, every day, the state's gonna come in, because we're.
Yeah, that'll be way too much for that plant to handle, even though it's geared for that, it's not day by day by day.
It's, they're just not, they're gonna say you're gonna have to expand your plant, because you can't, you're at max capacity.
For reference, we're roughly in the 200 to 250 range right now, right?
And there's nothing, you know.
And during the summer, we're typically running 250,
Where's last
275
year?
maybe.
Yeah, right, numbers for last year. I can tell you. Last year in the summertime, we were in, well, just say for July, we, produced 6,440,000 gallons. In January this year, we were right at 7,500,000 gallons in January.
So, yeah.
Last January, we're about 2 million more from 2023 in January to this year in January.
Wherever the leaks are have gotten worse.
Yes. We had it down to 10 hours. Like last January, we averaged 10 hours a day. We're 14 to 15 hours a day now. And even the busiest months in August and September, we were below 13 hours a day.
Yeah, they definitely gotten worse.
Yeah.
I mean, and I bet it's a big pipe too, like it's
Yeah,
not no
it's
1
six-
inch or 2
yeah,
inch, it's
6 inch
probably
is the
6
biggest
inch.
pipes that we have in the system that we know of.
Yeah.
I mean, if you, it's gonna get to where, 3 operators can't handle that kind of I mean, we can't work 24/7 with just 3 operators.
No. Well, we're gonna get that resolved, and it's priority, we'll get that resolved.
Yeah, it's a high priority.
If we can't, if Keith can't, locate something, then we'll move on to Nicole and work through her to see about getting somebody up here on that.
I
And
mean, the more, so we find these areas, like, just pinpoint it down, whatever whoever's willing to do what we have to do. And it's just gonna, the expenses are just gonna keep going up.
well, we're just throwing everything into the ground.
Yeah. We gotta identify the problem. I feel like you guys have done a really good job, with this sort of, look here, look there, try this, try that. We were discouraged for a little while, but then all of a sudden we hit what appears to be perhaps jackpot.
Yes.
I don't know why we've never cut that area off before, but that stands to reason that would be an area to check, so. But it's certainly encouraging to know that we now have a light maybe at the end of the tunnel.
There's a straight cut from the old 28 road all the way to the 4 intersection.
I'm not sure what it actually, they say that there's several different areas on both sides of the road that thing was tapped off.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you look at the pictures out here, you look at the number of cabins that were in there, imagine the number of taps.
Yeah, because there was a bunch.
So it's possible, I think that one's gonna be a little bit more problematic potentially, and I think we just probably look at replacing the whole thing is my thought. Down 28 the other way, how many taps would you think? There's a few taps because you used to have some houses up to the right side of the road.
And it's not marked on the old maps that we have there. If you see the water, if you just see the water line, all the water lines in the cabins.
I think it would almost be like you could connect the intermediate tank with the whole new line just
Well,
come up.
we did valve off that from the intermediate tank up 28. The best we could tell, if there's any leaks there, there's nothing significant about it, like what we were seeing from where we valved off at the corner, in the middle of the road there, down to the Woods Road.
So that's not the same where that leak that is occurring on 28 isn't off of that line? It's
The best we can tell about valving, how we can valve off that section, we didn't see any significant pressure change when we had to pump on.
So what part of the road are we talking on 28 with that, the major leak is at? Is it coming down?
Just between both the entrances, the first 2 entrances.
Oh, okay, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's
Between Woods
like-
Road and the first
Yeah,
entrance.
there's just, I think it's about 1,800 feet apart.
You're saying,
Darren walked there's no noticeable, visible water anywhere.
Right, but I know that the other side of the road there, of Gold Mine, there was like a bunch of houses up in there. So, there is a lot of taps off of that, in that area for sure. There was also, in that, there was all kinds of houses on the other side there at one time. And then we also, right, almost directly across from Wood Road, is where that grill was at, that barn.
Right.
So, I think, who knows what is going on with that there
And
too.
just because, there could possibly be valves in that section, but they're just buried under the road. They're
Right.
buried because they're just so old. And so, it's not unreasonable to think that instead of putting valves in, they just welded the pipe and just ran teeth off of that. And,
Yeah, I would
there's
see
no
that.
way to know unless
Well,
you
because
dug the whole place
they
up.
weren't thinking about the future, that's for sure, and ease of getting to stuff.
I'm
And,
glad we have 2 specific areas we can really concentrate on, and I'm fairly hopeful we should be able to find it sooner or later, hopefully sooner.
And then I also talked to Nicole about in the winter time and stuff, when we're using less than 40,000 a day. I got permission from her that we can run the plant every other day. As long as the tank's full, instead of coming in and running 2 hours a day, we come in every other day, run 4 or 5 hours.
That sounds like a pipe dream, no pun intended.
But I can, and also I can
But,
monitor the tank levels from my phone or my computer, and so it wouldn't be like, just.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind, you can still monitor
I can
everything.
still, check in a few times a day.
And then, the award.
Oh, we got an email from Nicole today as well that, she said, "Hi Carrie, just want to let you know that you have achieved the AWAP award for 2023. And so that's area-wide optimization program. The state it's a partnership with the EPA, where they recognize plants that have so much percentage of turbidity removal. It just means that we have really good quality water in we're way, have no problems with any of our tests, with any limits, we're way, well below any kind of limit.
Can I have it,
Okay.
And,
Can you scan that, Bill, and send it out?
yeah,
Yeah.
I will, I'll send it to everybody.
So, I'm gonna,
It's good water.
yeah,
It's
so,
nice and cold, look at school here. You go to other places, I wait for it to
we
get
done
cold like this
good.
here.
Something, that's one positive.
Yeah.
So I see, the pump at the intermediate thing, we got an update there.
Do we know what's going on?
I don't know, last time you knew that Jeff was supposed to check in.
So we don't know if it's still leaking,
It's not leaking, I mean, I go down to check it, it's not leaking. When he took
but we haven't got the new piece on
the
it.
new seal,
Mhm.
when he took it apart, come to replace it, he had it took apart before he realized that they had set the wrong seal. And when he put it back together, you could see the crack in it, it's just like a ring of metal, you could see the crack in it, but when he put it back together, cleaned it and everything.
Well, was he supposed, didn't he say though he's gonna bring the right one? I mean,
That's what that's the last I heard that.
nothing so far, huh?
I've not heard anything. The last I heard was last week when Jill was supposed to call him and, see about the update on that.
All right, I'll give him a call then tomorrow or something.
And generator contract.
Yeah, I just was gonna have you tell about that a little bit.
They came and got one at the water plant up and running. It was low on oil and low on antifreeze, and it needed new batteries. And
Just haven't been serviced in a while.
it had never been
It
serviced.
never been, right?
So they came and got us back up and running, and I'm waiting for them to schedule for they're gonna schedule the load test on the 2 generators, and then just the annual service. Should hear something from them towards the end of this month, and they're putting us on a schedule for that. So that they said it'll probably take a day for each to do the load test and do the service and all that. But there was no major problem.
And did they check the one at the wastewater plant too?
They've not checked it
They
yet.
haven't went there yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dennis, according to him, it's firing up weekly like it's supposed to and running. So, but and I've had them to turn it back on, so
But they need to do a load test still on that, right?
yes, they need to do load test on both of them.
Right. But we don't need to do it on the portable one.
No, not on the portable one.
Because we've already.
And the same day they do the load test and the service on the one at the wastewater plant, they'll gonna service the portable one as well, change the oil, check all the fluids, check the batteries, just do it. I think they say they have like a 40-point inspection that they perform on, so they'll do that the same day.
So we can feel good about our backup systems.
We're gonna have power if something happens. We'll have power down there now.
And that's amazing. Well, hopefully, there won't be any issue, really, as everything improves with the electricity around here, so, they're burying so many lines and all the different, with all this,
outages now.
yeah,
It's great.
fingers.
I just jinxed it. Never mind, sorry.
All right, anything else on the water, wastewater side?
I will, on the wastewater side, he feeds, started, I guess it was in January, it was started a while, but on the new permit, wastewater permit, they were requiring the deep boring and dechlorination because of the discharge. I will say now that, and I think Troy from Rural Water came in and spoke to him about that,
Yeah.
but we are going, and we were able to order the chlorine tablets and buckets, I think they're 60-pound buckets. The dechlorinations, I think, come in 40-pound buckets, and,
And that dechlorination will go through just like it's water.
yeah.
Because we don't have enough contact time,
Right.
right?
It's
For
just,
deboarding.
it's going, well, he's getting on the chlorine now, so we're okay on the test, that they have to test for it twice a week into the several different points, I think, through the system there, but we are burning through this stuff, I mean, and
Yeah.
I think they're about, what, $300 a bucket
Yeah, it's expensive.
for
It
each
is.
one.
The way Bill explained it was, I guess, you just don't have the contact time on the dechlorination side, so we're having to throw more chemicals in, is that?
That's the way Dennis
is that the rough
described it to me.
explanation?
That's what, yes.
Because we had to retrofit to our system.
When we put the chlorination tab in, we have a lot of room for it to go through and chlorinate everything.
Yeah.
And then when we put the dechlorination in, we have very little space. So you have to use more of those dechlorination tablets to clear out chlorine that has had all this space to run through. That's the way I understand it.
I'm not really asking about what the problem, why it was, but as the temperature warms up,
It also eats it up.
it's gonna eat it. I mean, as the warmer the days get, the warmer the water gets, the
The
quicker.
chlorination just.
Well, those tablets. is
The
just gonna-
dechlorination
Think about
dissolves
a
too
pool,
quickly.
like, you know,
Oh, I see.
like
Yeah.
in pools or hot tubs, you have those little flutters with the chlorine tabs in it. The warmer they are, the quicker you have to go through and fill those up. Same concept, the same thing, chlorine tabs.
So when Troy came in, we talked about, there is a system somewhere down east that did an experimental for a year, and he's trying to get the results of that. It's something to do with acid, and it would take, I can't remember, do you remember what the actual
I
name?
don't remember the name of it, but
It was
it's,
something acid, and that would be probably, we wouldn't have to do dechlorination, we'd just put that in there and that would handle all of it. So we'd put it in at the beginning, we'd have plenty of room for it to go through. But there is gonna have to be some system, moved around to make, to put it in there. There's got to be pumps and lines, and so there's gonna be a little bit of
We can
a
explore
start
the
there.
possibility.
Yeah.
it's just making, like, just, be aware that the cost for the wastewater chemicals is, it's gonna be high for a while. I mean,
Yeah.
I hate to see what it is this summer when things are really,
Yeah, me
with
too.
that flow, we have more flow.
And we didn't have no idea this because we never had to do this. This is our first season having to put this dechlorination through there. There used to be an old pump house down there that it was a different system, but that's all torn out and old, and
Yeah,
we'd have to
they-
just rebuild it completely.
Did it said that we
from ground up.
couldn't use, liquid bleach like we use there, I think his choice said, or I say, I don't know, I'm sure he talked to you about that. But he can't use the liquid bleach or the liquid dechlorination, he would have to use chlorine gas.
Yeah. And it's still,
And
that would be more
that's a problem,
expensive.
and
to-
that's a problem.
Yeah, you
I
think
hate
that-
I hate, I mean, it's just,
It's an-
it's dangerous, I mean, it can kill you when they start leaking, but it's just,
There's probably a lot of regs to deal with.
we had it, we had it in Robbinsville when I
Is that
first
thing
started.
that come off of calcium hypochlorite?
You what?
Calcium hypochlorite?
Yes.
Use it comes off of that?
Yes,
It took my head off.
it will kill, I mean, like, I've got gas before, like, we had our cylinders in a separate room, and when we start having chlorine leaks, and it would come through into our lab and stuff, and I mean, like, it would burn your lungs up, it's horrible stuff, I hate it. So just be aware that wastewater,
Well, we'll turn our attention to those problems here shortly. I'm sure.
maybe we get the water costs down, but the wastewater, it's gonna be a little bit, it's gonna be more.
Peracetic acid, 15%, for use as a full-scale study in hopes to replace a primary disinfectant.
Muracetic?
Parasitic.
Yeah, peracetic. Peracetic. So this was a pilot testing for Eden, North Carolina. Since they started this, they have a new administrator, so he had put in a call to her, and she, and they hadn't got back in touch, but he said as soon as he is able to get a hold of somebody down there, he would send me the results of that.
Anything else on the water wastewater
I
side?
think that's it.
Well, thank you so much for the good news.
Yes.
We appreciate you bringing us good news today.
I know, that's nice.
Yes, it's always
I don't feel
nice.
like I'm coming with doom and gloom. We've got us,
Well, it's like, yeah. You send the
It's
dog in the
really
right
good
direction.
news. I'm
I know,
excited about
I'm
it.
excited. We're gonna be doing a happy dance all the way through, all the way through the village when these leaks are fixed. Every one of us, I'm gonna make every one of us get out there and do a happy
So right
dance.
now, I'm trying to investigate and then develop the plan for resolving it. I think that's super high priority.
Absolutely. So, yeah, it's good news all the way around.
Sweet. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Cut you loose and we'll move on.
We'll
Thank
make the
you,
water
Perry.
plan.
Yeah.
For the rest of your 16-hour day?
Yeah, let's go make it to the water for another hour, hour and a half.
Looks like
See if we can get the tank full.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie.
telltale signs of like where it's getting water and the rest of it. I don't have.
I mean, it could just be a state water because it could be the type of grass that's there. There's a number of possibilities. wet grass has migrated to wet areas, basically. All right, so, next thing, financials there, so.
So we have in the general fund, we have $128,843.34. And then our utility fund, thanks to a $20,000 payment we got from the resort, thank you so very much. That is much appreciated. It's at $40,869.85, but as you probably well know, these chemicals come in, I'll probably take half of it right there, but it's still very much appreciated. So that's a total of $169,713.19.
And just a reminder, on that 128,843 general fund number, you got restricted.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
like 32,000 restricted in POW bill money, so that can only be used on roads. And then we have a small electrical grant that's still, I asked Becky about that too, because I can't get that, I gotta figure out how to get that off the books. I mean, off the top of my head, I can't tell you how much is in it, but because we spent some on lights, but I think that we still have some money in there. And I just was, maybe $3,000-4,000.
Let's figure out how much we
Yeah.
got, and then we can talk about what electrical related things
Yeah.
that
We can get some supplies there, Jason, if they need hard hats or, I mean, I know that Jeff isn't doing a whole lot of work on electrical anymore, but anything that's related to electrical, we can use that grant up. And I'll let you know exactly how much it is. It's not a lot.
Also, like personal protective equipment.
Well, if it's anything that would be something you would use with
Electric
electric. Yeah.
specific.
Yeah. I know when I talked to Jeff before, but that was back when we bought the poles and was doing all that, you know, we spent a big chunk of that before.
Certainly, since we have that money, and we'd like to probably try to clear it so we don't have it just taking up space, you know, we can work with Jason and Jeff
Yeah.
and figure out what needs there are on the electrical side.
And I talked to him, I told him that we'd made a surplus at Derrick Digger, and he was like, well, I use that.
He had used it last week.
Yeah, that's what he
We
said.
had a tree down, knocked the power out of the pit stop. He had that thing all the way across the road, all the way.
So that's the remote access vehicle, I suppose, right?
Yeah, so I don't know that, I don't know if you have
what we did
to
with
go
that.
back in and then say it's not surplus, I don't know, I'll check with Becky on the stats.
One thing when you talk about that, I think you called it Pell Grant, and you said the roads. What can we do about trying to fix that piece of road right across from the pit stop where you're turning in?
Well-
Because everyone has to go outside that, you
Yeah.
got traffic coming up.
Yeah, I know exactly what
It'd
you're
be
talking
great
about.
if we could, it'd be great if we could,
Well, you know, we can't get a paving company in here to do it because it would cost us too much, I mean, more money than what we got. We got 32,000, they're not gonna come up, I mean, even just that little spot would be more than that. I'd say so, because when, it'd be close, I don't know.
So, we never did, you know, I know Aldridge came in and.
Didn't they give you an
Yeah,
estimation?
well, but we never could find that, so maybe we talk to them since they're the most local. And we asked them to come out and look at a few of these trouble spots. That area is certainly a primary concern. There's a few other ones I think going up the road as well. You know, we look at the high priority sort of repavings and we get kind of a bit of an à la carte estimate. It would
Well, I
cost
know
you
when we
this to
had them
mobilize.
out, we had them come out and do that back several years ago now, and then it was over $100,000 to do just, some spots around the village that were bad.
So just spots, there was no long, there was
No,
no
it wasn't,
section.
no. When he did that, that was, gosh, I can't even remember now, it was, because it was so big, I didn't even pay attention, because it's like, you know, there's no way we
We
could do
can
that.
still, unless
But-
we can find that, I mean, I think just revisiting that
If
and
they've been out here, I'm sure they probably would remember what.
he may already have an
bid or-
analysis he
yeah.
can just pull.
Right, and I know Jeff well, so, yeah, I can,
If we follow up on that and we can see about getting a few of these trouble spots smoothed out, going into season, I'm sure Jason will appreciate that.
well, that's just I think that's a hazard area right there because people, they don't wanna.
well, motorcycles in
Yeah,
particular.
they could swing into oncoming traffic.
I
Yeah,
mean, it's just not a place, so
yeah, local.
we could try to do something there that'd be very helpful.
I will definitely, I'll get in touch with them If not this week, I'll next week. And see what we can do.
All right, anything else related to the financials, anybody? Okay. Moving to our, the RFQs, we've got a couple of RFQs one from Withers Ravenel, they're North Carolina based, I think they're out of Cary. They've got an office in Asheville, and then we also have one from
Gresham Smith.
Gresham Smith, which they're, I guess, out of Nashville, I believe, but they have an office in Knoxville, so. I think we just had those two, but it's gonna be enough for us to move forward on the selection process, and I think part of that selection process is gonna be us talking about some of the pros and cons.
Becky is gonna send me a numbering system, like, had, you know, so you look at the
Criteria.
Yeah, criteria that we can, so ideally, you know, if three people, either, you know, whoever would like to be on that committee, would sit down and we would go through this, and based on what she sent us, like, how many points you get for this, how many points you get for that. And then whoever has the most points at the end would be the one that you would submit, or, you know, have the hire. And then, though, you have to have the negotiation with them on price. So if their price range is too high, then you would go to the second one. You know, so this is just, all this is request for your qualifications. That's all we send out. Can you do this job? Where are you located? How soon can you get started? You know, what kind of plan can you draw? That just very simple, basic stuff. Huh?
So it's not a bid?
No, it's.
No, there's no bid in this, no.
It's essentially, we're an engineering company in the area, this is our area of expertise, these are projects we've done, this is how we're qualified to do the work that you have that needs to be done.
And this is how soon we can get
So we're
started.
qualitative.
So we're looking at the resume.
Basically, yeah, that's what these are. And so she recommended getting three people, and forming a committee and sitting down and going through it page by page, and at the end of the day, who gets it, you know, and then we proceed from there. I would recommend, you know, we need to, I think Thomas, because of the resort aspect of it, and yourself as the mayor, and if you want to do it, that's fine, or I can do it, because I'm right there too, so. I don't imagine.
The thinking was because of, you know, because of Thomas's interaction with the resort, we can get the resort's input there on any of that, and not to mention that Thomas has some experience in dealing with various projects and whatnot. Zell's going to be, whoever we choose is going to be involved in the day-to-day. So I think the client rep and everything else, Zell would have some valuable input there. And then I was thinking myself, I've got a background, I began 20, 25 years ago in civil engineering. So a lot of these concepts are, you know, the qualitative side of it, I get running the computations. I don't have my little HP calculator anymore. So I'll trust their calculations, but we were thinking that. What do you guys think about
I personally think it makes
us
sense.
representing?
Zell, Rob, and Thomas. That to me makes sense.
Thomas, what do you think?
I'm happy to do that. I
Is
think
that
that
good?
should be a group, three of us, to figure it out. I support that. Shouldn't we?
The thing now is try to, you know, first of all, we can talk briefly about them so you guys have some sort of general understanding. You know, I described the companies very, very generally. You know, basically, one's Tennessee, one's North Carolina. There could be some pros and cons. You know, of course, the Tennessee has licensing in North Carolina, but familiarity.
I think they're both available to start
Quicker.
quickly, which is a plus right there.
Coming over driving, just putting their trucks.
Yeah, but it's not the first time that, you
Well, it's not
know.
gonna be the construction side of it so much, it'll be more the engineering, the evaluation, the design, some surveying.
And then they'll sub out the engineering, but they will do that, you know, just like what we did with the water
So
plant.
I noticed Withers Ravenel, they actually have a survey, they seem to have a survey division. So they would probably not even sub that out. unless-
They're both pretty big firms.
Yeah.
Just glancing at the the list of like senior engineers we're putting on, both of them are stacked with like 8 totally qualified.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they
My ask or take on it though is that, you know, getting something done with these 2 major leaks as quickly as possible. You know, even if it's
Yeah,
just a Band-Aid on it until we can get through the season to get back in there.
So real quick, the familiarity wise, with Gresham Smith, I guess they were involved in some of the electrical. Were they doing?
You know, Gresham Smith is currently
Over there.
hired by Fontana Ventures LLC to work with the full grid upgrade. They're not the same group, obviously, because the electrical and water is different. But Gresham Smith has already been out here surveying the property for electrical like 2 or 3 times. We talk to them pretty regularly, and as we start to get towards the construction phase, like a lot more frequently. But yeah, so Gresham Smith is already working on this property on the electrical side. That's something else to consider. Different teams again, but you know, let's dig into it and do the point system. I think that's a nice objective way to do it. They're both very qualified, which is a great thing. It's not like
Yeah, we got 2 good choices.
yeah, they both work on civil infrastructure of this scale, in this terrain, in this region, you know, in this type of terrain. In this region.
Well, Becky is supposed to send me that numbering system in the morning. My suggestion is that we meet for lunch and try to just hammer this out tomorrow so we can get it done.
So-
And make an announcement on who we're gonna.
On the
start
other
with.
side, with Withers Ravenel, Freddie Harrell is a point of contact there.
I know Freddie well.
Was Freddie previously with McGill?
Yes, he was, yeah.
So-
That's where I first met him.
So he's got familiarity with our
Fontana.
system from that report. I think you think he was involved in that capital report, that,
The capital improvement?
Yeah.
Yes, I think he probably, yeah, because he was working there then, yeah. He was
So-
there for many years.
I'm just trying to give a little background on
Right.
the 2. And so it wasn't Withers Ravenel necessarily that was involved in that, but Freddie Harrell, who would be, I think, one of our reps. I don't think he'd be the project manager or the client rep from what I read, but he would certainly be a point of contact
Right.
there, and his familiarity is interesting.
Right.
So, and I'm trying to think, there was another aspect that.
Well, he was also involved with the water plant when we did it. He was still a part of that too. He was like a overseer or middleman on that, so he's very familiar with this area. He is also, every project that we've had, you know, they have been right there saying, we'll be happy to help you, you know, so.
There's also the aspect of being able to work on a reimbursement sort of.
Yes, I asked him about that, and he said, yes, that would be fine too. You know, I talked to Jason just briefly about that, like with because Fontana Ventures has obligated 40%, was that what it was, Thomas? For the match on that? When that's what's required of ARC? Yeah, and so like getting half that up front so that we would have that, start paying, and then we'd get the reimbursement, and that way we wouldn't have to do that. We could, because once the reimbursement's in, then we'd have that money to pay for the next one, so.
Have we spoken with ARC as far as how?
I have not.
The pay down and the distribution, you know, I wasn't sure specifically.
I don't know what they're gonna require. They may require
If we're
that
gonna pay
match up
down the
front.
match, and
I don't
then
know.
from there, it was all grant, you know, that was just the specifics of the pay down, I suppose, was.
When we did the water plant, and there was some $20-some thousand that was supposed to be a local match, which was Phillips and Jordan, but somehow Diener ended up picking up that. So we never really had to worry about that with that. So I don't know what ARC is going to expect from that. You know, as soon as we can get a contractor hired or an engineer firm hired, then I'm going to have a phone call into Olivia to find out, you know, what's the next steps.
So, do we want to do a lunch meeting tomorrow?
Let me make sure, but I would like to, let me just make sure I'm clear. I can make it happen.
You can't make it happen,
Yeah, I
so
can.
what time do you want to meet?
Is it dinner, or do you want
12:30?
It's a good time, 12:30, whatever.
Let's, 12:30 work for you? Yeah, I'm not, usually it's around 12:30. And are you guys, we probably should have an approval of this committee. So then somebody
Yeah,
make a motion.
yeah, I think that was,
I put in a motion for approval of the selection committee
As presented.
as presented.
There you go, all in favor?
aye.
Roger that. All right, so we've got a,
So it's gonna be Rob, 0.
and also Zell, I think she sent out electronic copies of both of these.
Yes, you guys should have them in your
Have them in
email.
your email if you want to take a look at them.
In more
more
depth.
in depth.
And it, you know, that book is extra if you wanna take that one with you.
Sure.
You can do that.
It's less than computers.
Yeah, and I'm sure, it would be good going to sleep reading material.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
More understanding.
anything else on the RFQ, or you think we got a game plan there, right?
I think we got a game plan there, and I feel so good to be moving forward on that finally. Yeah.
All right, ethics class?
Okay, so as you, most of you know, that when you are appointed or elected, you have to, it's state required that you do an ethics class. And, we can do it online. And now that we have, we can actually do it as a group. I'm sure Thomas could set that up, you know, where we can watch it in an office or something.
I mean, we might even be able to, hang out here and
Yeah.
and maybe have a, have a lunch or a
Yeah, or
dinner
something
while
like
we're
that.
doing it. and make
Yeah.
it a little bit more
But, Eric, we've got, everybody's got to take this class. And then at the end, there's a quiz.
Is there a deadline by when it has to be?
You gotta have it done within 12 months of your election or your appointment. So
Ideally,
November.
we
so-
probably get it done before we got into the busy part of the season.
Yeah, so I was thinking
Once
that's
that gets
something
going, we're gonna have budgeting that's gonna come up, and unfortunately, our budgeting,
that's gonna be very difficult this year.
our budgeting, basically, we're doing budgeting whenever the season's cranking up, and it's just a very hectic time. I wish our budgeting, fiscal year could
Be like a
be
year.
be the
Yeah.
calendar year.
Yeah, it would be very
Still.
helpful. And I don't know, but even if you could change that, you would be still fighting against everything else that is set up on the fiscal year,
True.
so.
But at least, I mean, that might be a question for Becky.
It might
I
be.
doubt the answer's gonna be something that is gonna be advantageous. for
I think
us.
it seems like there are places though that do work a calendar.
It would work a lot better because that would allow us to, when the season's winding down and things are slowing down, we're not, because a lot of times I think with the budgeting, right in the buildup of the season, sometimes it doesn't quite get the attention that it deserves
Right,
and needs.
it's, well, cause everybody's been rushed.
Because you've got so many things going on.
And it's hard to get everybody together.
So maybe you ask her about that. I think the big trick would be, how do you transition? You're gonna have a budget where either you got a 6-month budget or a 1.5 year budget to make the transition. To go from June to December.
Yeah, I don't really know how that plays out, but I'll certainly find out.
So investigate, I guess, for the ethics class, if we wanna do just a one license thing, we can.
Well, you
watch.
still have to pay
It's all
for it
the same.
individually regardless. It's a cost regardless. But this way though, we know everybody's watching it and doing it, so, because sometimes it's hard for people to get
How
on
long
it.
is it, Mike? Hour and a half?
I don't know, I haven't watched it.
I wanna say it was hour and a half, 2 hours.
I'm looking online and it's saying you have to take it through a scheduled webinar. It's not like self-directed learning where they just give you the material and you just click through it.
Well, but there is like through the league, council of or the North Carolina League of Municipality, which is where I usually purchase it from. You can send it to the individual emails and they can take it at their own
They
pace.
have webinars you can do, Thomas, but they also, eventually, once they stop doing the webinars, they'll just send you a link to that webinar and you can watch it. And, we've done that in the past. Used to be, we would go and actually, they
Go to Asheville.
They would have a meeting and you could have conversation, you could meet people, network, but we've kind of gotten away from it for a variety of reasons. Costs,
Right.
scheduling, COVID, number of things. So we'll try to see if we can, maybe next meeting we'll talk about the ethics class more and see if we, have a better possible time to maybe get together for,
Well, like you said, it's probably better sooner than later,
Yes.
you know, because that's not something you want, like, when season gets here, next thing you know, it's October, November, and then in November, it'll be the year, and that needs to be in before then. So, it'll probably be sooner than later.
anything else? Discussion wise, anything you guys feel like you need to talk about town related?
Let's see, I haven't done anything about the garbage yet, I meant to get on that and just hadn't had time. As far as finding out cost estimates on those cans, and we've been so tied up with water and stuff, it's hard to actually know what we're gonna do about our garbage situation. That's gonna have to, by next, meeting, I hope to have some things zeroed out, at least give us an idea of how much, you know, various ways, I mean, it really don't matter which way we go, it's gonna be expensive.
What are our options and what are those?
And, you know, I'm thinking our best bet is to get like maybe 4 more dumpsters like the one that's down at the marina and the one in behind the grill and put them somewhere and for the resort use, but it needs to be someplace that is like kind of out of sight so we don't get a lot of local people there, you know. Because we have to pay the tipping fee, you know. When I talked to Gavin about that, I think it is $75 is what they charge to come over here and pick up these cans. But he said that trash we own or something like that out of Bryson City only charge $50.
They come out for Deals
Deals
Gap,
Gap,
so they'd be on the way, so we might be able to piggyback for cheaper.
Yeah,
I think the key is gonna be where we put it.
yeah,
how
that
we
is gonna be the
protect it.
key. And I don't know if they're gonna require us,
There's.
I don't know if they're gonna require us to put a fence around it. Now, you'd think if it's private, I don't know that they can require that, can they?
Well, if we don't, and the locals find out where it's at.
Yeah, I
And I
know.
don't wanna, I don't wanna play blind out of this, but we're the ones having to pay for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right,
And we all know how much trash is here in season.
right.
I don't know that 4 is gonna be enough.
Well, we'd have 6, because we'd have the one at, and then, there's one up here too, so that's 7. And then, we've had to, roll off that big long one back in behind housekeeping there for a while. But, you know, ideally, we'd either do all of one or the other, we wouldn't have 2 separate companies that we'd be paying to
I
there.
think it's definitely something that we all need to be very involved with and understand so that we can embrace this because it's here.
It's here, yeah, this season's gonna be underway, and
When you get some specific information, maybe we look at setting up a meeting with Jason and Thomas and anybody else who wants to be there, although we have to be careful of having more than 3 people from the council that will have an official meeting at that point. But we can kind of hash through it once we got a bit more,
right,
but it's definitely, that's another thing, once the season hits,
it's on, I mean, you know, and right now, we definitely do not have enough cans for, the trash that's coming at us, there is no way.
Another question for if we're gonna explore this other, how often do they come out in the busy season? Are they coming out twice a week? Because coming out twice a week will allow us to have less dumpsters, I guess. But it's a very valid point that you raised, Jason, is 4 to 6.
I know that they
7 to 8
said,
would be enough.
Gavin said that they are $12 to $1,500 a piece. Those dumpsters are.
What
So,
did the county do with the ones they took out from up in the heights?
well, they spread them out because they put, you know, they went back on that and reopened all the sites with the exception of that one up there, so.
In fairness, that was the site we used. I mean, where did they get redistributed and why couldn't they help us out with that?
Well, if they did that though, we would have to require or allow, because it's a county wide.
I guess what I'm saying is Fontana Village is one of the largest employers in Graham County. I mean, at some point in time, we need some help.
I get you, I know.
We need some help
I-
to better understand. I mean, you know, it's,
I know what you're saying, exactly,
you know what
but,
I'm saying? So
I think,
why couldn't we try to get him over here and a couple of us meet with him and really try to say,
I think that's a good idea.
what can you do to help us? What do you suggest? We understand we're gonna have to start paying them, but, you know,
Let's brainstorm
Let's go.
and let's see where's our common ground at.
right. Okay, we can do that, I can get a hold of him and,
You have a relationship with him, right?
yeah, well, I mean, I don't know him all that well, but enough to call him and talk to him, yeah. And I can set up a,
Have him come over for lunch and we can, you know,
Yeah.
take a look at the
Yeah.
place, we can
That'd be good.
talk about it.
how soon do you want me to make that happen?
Like
ASAP.
yesterday.
Okay.
As soon as he can do it.
Trash is a big deal.
It is a very big deal, and this is-
Trash, water.
those are our two biggest issues right now, right? Not necessarily in the
Yeah,
same
choice.
place. Oh, look at there.
All right, anything else we need to talk about? Trash, I think, was a good addition. If we don't have anything else, our next meeting is gonna be March 20th.
So, did we do an approval of the ethics
Gotta
class?
approve the ethics
Yeah, we
class.
probably,
What
Oh, yeah.
is that? We're just motioning to approve that we will. do
well,
it.
that I gotta to
You made the
purchase it.
motion already, right?
No, she did that on the,
Yeah, I did
committee.
the three-man selection committee.
Oh, that's, sorry.
Yeah.
I put in a
need to
motion
eat.
for the ethics
All right.
class as presented.
Thanks, Rachel, all there.
Aye.
If there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and adjourn, and our next meeting's gonna be March the 20th, Wednesday. 6:32, adjourn.